your story. Tell your audience about your story.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't have to be, in book, and it doesn't have to be your entire life story, but just tell me a piece of it.
Yeah.
Really get authentic with me. Let me know that I'm not the only one that is struggling, or I'm not the only one thinking this or feeling this. Because for me, when I read content that is kind of like, I was there once, I did that and I did this, and I had to change, maybe my mindset, or I had to change a few things about my business, my marriage, whatever it is. And they go into those tips, that speaks to me. Had a speech impediment, but I never thought about it as, I don't know, a limited disability, I guess. I don't know. I guess.
How young were you? How early was that when you discovered
gosh,
this?
I had it all throughout childhood. I mean, I'm still dealing with it, but I've learned to slow down and talk a little clear, thanks to moving to Germany, because Germans can't always understand someone who is originally from the South and is talking really fast. So I had to really slow down with my speech, but I had a speech impediment, and I remember a lot of people always asking me, my sister, or my family, what did she say? And can you repeat that? And so I turned to writing, and I think writing was my way to express myself without having anyone ask me, what did you say? Can you repeat that? Because with words, you can write anything you want, and since people know how to read, you don't have to worry about pronunciation.
Absolutely.
And that was, for me, a great way to express myself. And my grandma was a huge writer. She wrote poems, which I suck at, but she she was a writer. And I attribute a lot of my talents probably from her. She was an incredible woman. So, and then I decided I wanted to become a famous author when I was a teenager. So I wrote all these books.
This sounds really familiar. This sounds like a very familiar story. I love it.
So I did publish my first book in 2008, and I was 19 years old, 19 years old at the time.
What kind of book was it, Monica? What was it? Nonfiction, fiction?
It was a fiction book.
Cool.
It was a suspense thriller.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm the way I write is, especially fiction, I get a little bloody, so it's a pretty bloody book.
Really? Wow. Just when you think you've known somebody, Nez Nation. My goodness. I would never think that from your sweet smile and persona. So you do blood and gore slasher fiction, or what do you do?
Well, there was a monster. So, monsters
Hey, Jordan.
do things, right?
Oh, interesting. Oh, so like a zombie thing, or just?
It was just a monster. And
monster. Okay, just a monster. Yeah. All right. And you were 19 years old when you published this?
Yeah, but I was writing it probably my last year of school, so my senior year in school, and finally got it published. And then I knew I knew from a young age I was going to work probably for myself. I didn't see myself working in the 9-to-5 job. Just seeing the way my dad was, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to do my own thing. And plus I want to stay at home with my future children, which now I'm about to have.
Yeah, congratulations. That's awesome.
So weird.
They're going to keep you busy. You think cat yoga is tough. Boy, they never tell you this. I mean, and if you guys have kids in the comments, leave a Y in the comments if you have kids, or put a baby emoji or something. They never tell you this, and I'm not trying to dissuade you. They're beautiful. You love them more than anything. This is the best time, actually, when they don't talk and they're not mobile. Enjoy it. All they do is sleep, poop, pee, and eat. That's about it. And you can just snuggle them, and they're cute. You can leave them on the couch. You don't have to worry about them getting into anything. It's when they become mobile, that's when the trouble begins.
I hear that. I've heard that.
But I think I have a great feeling you're going to be an amazing, amazing mother. And I'm sure your husband is fantastic, and you're going to have a great family. How many do you want to have, by the way? I mean, maybe I'll ask you this question after you have the first one, but do you have an idea?
So I think we're going to stick with 2 to see how my sanity goes.
Okay.
And if I feel like I can handle a third one, we'll do a third one, but that's it. Like, I'm cutting it off at 3. But we'll try with 2.
We'll come back after your second one. We'll do another show and see how you feel after the second one. Sure, I'll have 4. We all say that at the beginning. I'll have 5. I'll have 4. It'll be great. And then you realize all the gray hairs start coming and all the stress. Yep. I wanted to ask you, Monica, that's so cool that you dove into writing, because that was always like I don't want to say an escape. I want to say it was a sanctuary. The public library was probably my favorite place to go. I felt that that's where my friends were. That's where my companions, my compadres were. And I learned so much about diving into books. And I think writing is such a therapeutic act. Did you feel that, and I want to talk to you also, but let me ask this first. Did you feel that the writing actually enabled you, and that you could put your thoughts on paper? Did the writing enable you to sort of overcome any sort of speech, impediments or anything of that nature, or did you feel that that was something separate?
I think I thought it was something separate. I never saw it as a way, as like a way to free myself. I think I saw it more as, I just loved writing. Writing was a passion. I loved it. I was homeschooled, so my mom made sure that she did an emphasis on writing in my curriculum, which was great for me. And so I'm an extrovert. I am the
You don't say.
No.
Yeah. That's great.
And I'm also a center of attention person. So I'm
not. I'm an introvert. I don't like to talk.
Really now?
Ask my NEZNATION audience. They know I hate talking.
I don't know. I was going through my feed today, and that's all I saw of you. Just
that sounds familiar. Hey, I told you, there's no BS for me. I love content creation. I could create content from the minute I wake up to the minute I go to sleep, even if it never monetized. I just love it. I don't know I'm literally obsessed. I don't know what to do about it. So yeah, I mean, that's why you see so much of me. It's so funny because Sean knows I did a live stream yesterday. Hey, Andreas, good to see you. Hey, Tim, we have 3 boys, by the way. Oh my gosh, Tim has 3 boys. How old are they, Tim? Write down the ages. I was talking to a fellow life coach yesterday. Yeah, God bless you. And he was saying, boy, the one thing about you, Nez, is you're consistent. I love it. I absolutely, absolutely love it. And I want to talk about your content strategy. But first, I want to talk about, how did you said you never had any sort of stigma, or you didn't see it as something that was something to be ashamed of or anything like that. I think that's really rare. I think a lot of young people, and I'm sure you inspire people all over the world with your, presentations and speeches and keynotes, but I think a lot of young people, including this person right here, I know it's hard to believe now, the man I've become, and I'm still very flawed, but I was one of those kids who was afraid to vocalize, who was afraid to talk, afraid of what people thought, afraid of saying something stupid. You not only probably had what most people have, but you had something that was really palpable and tactile, and something that, really was not just in your head, but something that was a little bit of an impediment. And I'm wondering, how did you have that kind of mindset that you didn't see it as something that was a problem? You didn't see it as something that's holding you back. Was that something your grandmother taught you, or is that something you just cultivated on your own? I'm just really curious. That's great.
I think it goes back to my parents, who never made it into an issue. Like, if they made it into an issue, I think I would have taken it on as an issue. But because they were just like, it's Monica, she's going to do what she's going to do. Because I was a stubborn child, and I was a middle child, center of attention, extrovert.
Did we ask you how many siblings you have? How many siblings did you have?
Just 2.
Just 2. Okay. All right. Yeah. So your parents never made it an issue. Isn't this interesting? This is almost like child psychology now. never made it an issue. So it wasn't something that even occurred to you. Like, is this something I should be worried about? Where every other young person, you know, or most young people, they have these sort of, you know, these insecurities that are just natural being a young person in the world, still trying to figure yourself out. I think that's so interesting. So how did you kind of evolve in your speaking and get into speaking? Because you said you started with writing, you started with your book when you were 19. How did you continue writing books, or did that move into something else?
I did. I written a total of 3 books, and I think really what happened, the shift, is when I got into college. I always had friends. I mean, always, no matter what. And I had friends who were gracious enough to help me pronounce words, because somebody was like, yeah.
Was this in Germany? Was this, or in the South?
This was in Georgia.
Georgia's in the house. By the way, guys, if you have questions for our guests, leave them in the comments. I'll be happy to relay them over. This is an interactive live broadcast. Yeah, go ahead. So you had friends who helped you. That's so cool.
Yeah, because I remember one guy who was a close friend of mine. He was just like, you know, Monica, you're pronouncing forget wrong, and this is how you do it. And I was like, well, why didn't you tell me before? And he was like, Monica, he was kind of cute. And I'm like, Ben, it's not going to be cute 10 years from now. So he helped me repronounce the word. And then once I got to Germany, my husband was stationed at Ramstein Air Force Base. And so we got married in the middle of his tour. And when I was whisked away from the South to Germany, culture shock.
Yeah, I can imagine. But Germany's beautiful, isn't it? I actually have an uncle who lives in Wiesbaden. My wife's background is, I mean, her original background is heritage is German too. I love the German peeps.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Did you like it?
Oh my gosh.
Aren't the people there just gorgeous? That was the one thing. I went to Germany when I was like around 19, 20, you know, it was after I graduated. This is years ago. And I remember thinking to myself, everybody in this country is gorgeous. Like, I was the fattest guy in Germany. And I'm not like morbidly obese. I'm not skinny either. And I was a lot better shape back then. But I looked around, I'm like, everybody's a model. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, well, they walk. The culture is like very, like, they walk all over the place. They ride bikes. They're pretty.
Yeah, they're in shape.
And their food is really good. Like, they ban a lot of the things that we eat here. Like, they ban it over there. But it's really good food. Oh my gosh, I want to go back every day. But
do you love food? Do you love food?
Yeah,
I do too. Can't you tell? Can't you tell I love food?
Yeah, after I got married, I started gaining some much needed weight.
Oh, you look terrific. You look terrific. You have nothing to worry about.
I got my weight good, so thank God for that.
So you had amazing friends who helped you with enunciation. Did you ever have like a speech coach?
Mm-mm.
Interesting. You just kept doing it. So what would you say is the key to you transitioning from somebody who had this quote unquote, you know, issue, which I don't even think is an issue, to becoming this international speaker? How did it get to that level? And then I want to talk about your content creation, because I think that's so cool.
You know, Peter, I'm just going to be honest. I don't know. Like, I talk a lot.
I love it. I love it. Hey, like, that's great.
I just love to talk. So, but like I said, once I went to Germany, my mom commented about a year after I've lived there. She was like, Monica, your speech has really slowed down. I can understand a lot more of what you're saying. And I think it goes back to a lot of the Germans could not understand me. So I had to really slow down.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because
that makes sense.
They spoke both German and English. I mean, we were in an Air Force Base area. I mean, the 50-mile radius, everybody spoke English. So I had to really slow down and really pronounce my words and really communicate what I was trying to say, or enunciate what I was trying to say.
Yeah. And why does it have to be fast? It doesn't have to be fast, right? Like, I always, when I was, this is going way, way back, but I was kind of learning to play my guitar and learning to play, drums and piano. And I mean, I was kind of a bit of a musician back in the day, nothing great or anything, but just long story short, it was so funny. I remember I had this friend who was just really amazing at guitar. And he always used to say to me, just learn everything slow first. You don't have to speed it up. Learn your chords slow, learn it. It's funny. It's interesting that you say that. This thing called slowing down, you know, I posted something earlier today. I posted some content earlier today where I actually talked about, I know that's a huge shock, where I actually, and I'm sure Tim and a lot of people watching can relate to this. Nez Nation, let me know in the comments what you think of this. You know, this idea of slowing things down. I took a walk by myself. You know, the kids are with grandma right now. We have 2 kids. I've got a 6-year-old and I've got a 4-year-old. And my wife was kind of doing her thing. She was busy doing something, and I needed to get some air. You know, I needed to get some right before the show, because I've been literally working with clients all day, like on the computer all day. And I kind of posted something, of course, on my walk, and just talked about how wonderful it is to just slow everything down. It's so rare. Like when you take walks, like life has this, the timing of things is so different. It's so real time. We're always like doing this. Yeah. And it was a beautiful thing, this idea of slowing down. And I'm sure, Tim, you being an artist watching, and Barb and everybody else, Jordan, you could relate to this idea of slowing things down. It's a powerful thing. It totally makes sense to me when you say that. When you say that slowing down your speech and slowing down and enunciating allowed you to really get better and more effective at, you know, just literally just speaking, period.
Yeah, so, and then I joined Toastmasters, and I felt Toastmasters really helped as well. And I was in Toastmasters for 2 years, but I've stepped out just to take care of me. And my, you know, my little baby boy, his name is Anthony Isaiah. So I'm taking care of me and Anthony, and of course, my husband, you know, making sure that our marriage, you know, working on our marriage, working on,
of course,
working on my business.
How do you do that? Now you're an entrepreneur, right? You don't have any other like day gigs or anything like that. No. You're a full-time entrepreneur. So how do you do that? You're going to be a mother soon. I know being, you know, I don't even like to call myself an entrepreneur, but, you know, I have a consulting agency and business that I'm trying to build and trying to grow. And it takes up a lot of time. I mean, you're never off. Plus, I teach writing classes at universities during the day and in the morning. And I have one night class even too. I mean, I work 24/8. So, I mean, how do you do that? How do you, and do you see things changing now that your beautiful baby boy is going to be coming into the world? Are your plans to slow things down, or do you feel like it's business as usual? Do you have any concept or strategy for that?
I have a concept. I don't know if it's reality. So I'm trying to remain in possibilities and, you know, and be relaxed about it. Like, you know, if I need to have more time with me and my baby, I want to give myself the grace to do that. But right now, I do try to wrap up my day whenever my husband gets home, just so I can spend that time with him. Even if it's, you know, binge watching on Netflix, I mean, it's still spending time with him. That's something I've always put into place. So that way during the day, he is at work, so I'm at work. And at night, I can spend as much time as I can with him. Now, when the baby comes, I like to think that I can still be working with the baby. But, you know, reality, I don't know how that is. You know, I probably will have to slow down for a couple of months.
You know, I tell you, it's probably a lot different than, you know, 10, 20, maybe even 5, 6 years ago. Now that most of your work can take place at home through digital capacities and technologies, you're going to still have a lot of downtime, meaning, you know, that the newborns sleep a lot. So that's interesting. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting experience, and you're going to have to write about it possibly. You know, I think that would be really cool. Tim says it's easier to observe and pick up nuances and details when you slow down. Love it. Isaac says, yes, slowing things down is a good way to let the world melt away, so to speak. Beautiful, Isaac. Tim says it isn't 24/8, Peter. It's 36/8. You're damn right. You're damn skippy. It is 36/8. Yeah. But here's the thing that I always say, and I'd love your thoughts on this actually, Monica. If you do what you love, it's not work. I love creating content. I love meeting with my clients. I love getting on the phone with people who aren't sure if they want to work with me. Because when I get on the phone with somebody, it's a 99% close. Usually my rate of closing the deal, because I love helping people and I love what I do. They feel it. My energy climbs through the phone. and literally just embraces them. What do you think about that? Do you think that, and especially since you're a content strategist, and I want to get back to your international speaking, what do you think? What do you think of what's happening right now in the current culture, in the current digital era? And what do you think about people going on their own? You see this happening a lot more. People leaving the sort of 9 to 5. And I have a lot of respect for people in the 9 to 5. I don't like to defame them. I don't like to say, like, what are you doing with your life? You know, you see a lot of people saying bad things or judging people who are doing the 9 to 5. God bless them. But it's nice to have options. It's nice to have things. And I love growing my consulting business. What do you think of all this that's happening, and how have you kind of dipped your toes into it?
In the entrepreneurship?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. Okay, so can you rephrase the question? I felt the question.
Yeah, no, it was too much.
It wasn't. I can't process that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So, what do you? My basic question is what do you think about what's happening with the culture now, and more people are trying to go on their own? Because I know you're an entrepreneur. You have your own business, correct?
Yes.
So, talk a little bit about that and how that's going and how that's working for you.
So I've noticed, you know, you were talking about how people are going out on their own, and I think that's great. Like you said, there is options. I mean, my husband's a 9 to 5 person.
Nothing wrong with that too. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm grateful because, I mean, when, you know, those are times where your business is slow, you know that you can count on your spouse's paycheck, which is really nice. And he works really great in that environment. But for me, or just for others, I've noticed that when people do go out on their own, they are so clueless. They don't know what to even begin doing or what to focus on. And a lot of times people want to get online. And what I've seen on social media especially is some people just throwing content out there, and it pains me. I can't look at it because there's no strategy. It's just, sometimes it's copy and pasted. Sometimes it's, there's just nothing to it. I just feel like it's random. And I'm like, oh, please talk to me. Or they're not my ideal audience, so I don't want to go after them because I'm like, well, you're not my ideal audience, but you need help. And that's where.
Can you give us an example? Like when you see somebody produce content, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, me being somebody who loves creating content. What would be an example of something that's random, and what would you do to fix it?
Okay, so I'm going to pick on them, and I'm sorry that if any of you are part of this. Network marketers, I'm just going to be honest. They are the ones that really just pains me because they don't know how to strategize their content or how to make it work for them. I mean, I know they're getting clients, but I just feel like it's in an awful way because it's just like, I can't, like the way they post, I'm like, I would never buy from you because of you need to hire a content strategist and a marketing coach.
So with the way they post, like, meaning it comes off to what? Like it comes off to
everything's
disconnected, huh?
Yeah. I feel like it goes
salesy.
It goes back to the product, or it goes back, which is good. There's nothing wrong with that. But when everything is like about the product, or you see the same marketing materials being used by various representatives, that's not original content. And I'm like, I want to support people who have original content, who wants to grow, who wants to learn, and who wants to strategize their message in a way that is authentic. And I feel like there's a disconnect with some of them. And that's just my opinion personally. There's nothing wrong.
I think I agree. I think that you said something in the beginning of the broadcast, the know, like, trust factor. And I'm a big proponent of live video. I think video in general, I love the fact that creators now, there is zero tech barrier to entry, meaning you don't have to go buy all the fancy equipment now. You have everyday plain devices to get your story across and three-dimensionalize who you are, right? I mean, I work with clients too, helping them sort of go down this path and strategize, if you will, and sort of just look at different options. Just be real, right? So I'm curious, what would be like What would be an example of like really great content, like in your opinion? And obviously opinions are different. Everybody changes.
Yeah.
Nobody has the right absolute magic spell or recipe for virality or what have you, or 100% X growth. But what would be an example to Monica Miller, like when you advise a client, what would be a good start for somebody to really be authentic or to create?
Yeah, I worked with actually they were network marketers, but they were amazing. I love them. I mean, now they're all doing, oh my gosh, I'm just so proud of them, doing awesome things. So anyways, but whenever I worked with them, one of the pieces of content that I really wanted them to focus on was, tell me about your story. Tell your audience about your story.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't have to be, in book, and it doesn't have to be your entire life story, but just tell me a piece of it.
Yeah.
Really get authentic with me. Let me know that I'm not the only one that is struggling, or I'm not the only one thinking this or feeling this. Because for me, when I read content that is kind of like, I was there once, I did that and I did this, and I had to change, maybe my mindset, or I had to change a few things about my business, my marriage, whatever it is. And they go into those tips, that speaks to me a lot, because it gives me an insight of what they, maybe like the path they took. But then here's what I did to change it, and so can you.
Yeah.
And it just makes me feel better connected. I like that and that to me is great.
It's just more real to me. It's more
real.
When you share, I was talking about this actually the other night, maybe even last night. I can't even remember, but I was actually, I think, and I'd love your thoughts on this, Monica. I think what you're saying is absolutely poignant. I was saying that, like, you see a lot of this on the internet. It's just like, just click, this, or just go, or just do it. But we're negating preparation. I think negating preparation and strategy is not necessarily the best idea. Even this is coming from somebody who loves spontaneous, who loves to just do things and just fly, right? But I still have everything in here. I don't talk about things that I don't know about. I don't try to come off as an expert in this field if I don't know anything about it. And you see a lot of this stuff I like to call unicorns and yachts. You see all this unicorn and yachts where everything's rosy, everything's perfect, everybody's a millionaire, right? Everybody's just doing their thing and happy-go-lucky, and they're sitting on cloud nine. And I said, sharing your vulnerabilities. I said, sharing your flaws. I said, sharing your real story. Exactly what you said, I think, is a great way to share content. I once had a post, but I mean, I try to share as much as I can, the things that don't go well. In my Facebook group, I have a NEZNATION Facebook group, which I think I added you to the group.
You did.
I hope you'll stay in there. I hope that's okay that I added you.
That's okay.
So I try to share in my group. Tim's a member of the group. Barb, Isaac, a lot of people watching. Andreas, and give me some hearts, guys. Give me some likes. Let me know you're there. Let me know you're alive. And I try to just share real stuff, things that I'm struggling with, things that, like you said, problems, issues. Sometimes I'll just get on there and just rant on something, but then I always try to give something that I think would be valuable, or something that I think would be something that they could get something out of. I think thinking more, do you say to your clients in content strategy, what do you say is the number one thing that you need to do in order to create good content? I know there's a million things, but what would you say is one thing that sticks out?
Oh, right. So you paused for a second, and I was like,
I'm sorry. No, I'm saying what?
That could be my computer.
Yeah. Oh, it froze. Okay, sorry. Yeah, sometimes the connection, not a problem. This is one of the beautiful things of going live. Anything can happen. My question was, what would you say is one thing that really sticks out? I know there's a lot of things that make good content that you would tell your clients, but what is one thing that's the backbone, really important thing when you're creating content to implement? What would you say?
Consistency.
Love it.
I mean, because I have talked to so many people who started a blog, and they're like, well, I might be blogging 4 times a year. And I'm like, no, you can't be doing that. Or I blog maybe twice a month, maybe once a month, whenever I feel like it. I'm like, no, no, you need to be consistent. So when they work with me, I put them on a consistent basis, a consistent calendar system that works for them, because I don't want them to feel overwhelmed. I mean, that's not the key to success, but is to, hey, let's put consistency into your calendar and work it in a way that is going to feel good to you. Because if it doesn't feel good to you, you're not going to do it. Bottom line.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's great. I love that. Yeah, consistency. I think that's, I completely 100% agree. I think every channel, everything that I've done, you know, that I've focused on, like my YouTube channel and my live streams are really things that I'm focused on. And when I consistently publish, and Tim and everybody watching can attest to this, even you were joking about it. I see you all over the feed. I mean, I'm as consistent as they come. A, because I love it, but B, because I also know that's a smart strategy. I also know that that's something you should do. Even on the days where you feel like SHIT. Did I just spell that out? Okay, yeah. So even on the days you feel like that, I want to create advertiser-friendly content, so I don't want to actually say it. But yeah, I think that's so important. So very, very good point. So I want to talk a little bit. By the way, welcome, Andrew. Good to see you, Andrew. And by the way, guys, if you have any questions for our guest, any questions at all, please leave them in the comments. I'm monitoring the comments. So let's get into your, thank you so much. Those are some great answers at the content strategy, Monica. So let's get into your speaking. How did you're obviously a paid speaker, correct? You get paid to do speaking engagements?
Usually I do not.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about your speaking career a little bit.
Yeah, so I actually got into speaking, and I hired a speaking coach, and what she does is she speaks for free, but then afterwards she gets people on calls, and that's where she makes her money. So she teaches that same strategy to her clients. So I started speaking. My first, let me see. I've been speaking a lot. Like I used to be in youth group, and I talked in youth group for maybe a year or something like that until I went off to college. And so I did that, and I never had any problems standing up and giving, small presentations in front of the class. And then, let me see, then I decided to begin speaking in my own expertise. And one of my first speaking engagements was a class I put on, and it was a paid class. It was $30 at the local college here in Wyoming.
Smart. Like a workshop or something? Or a seminar? Yeah.
And I had 9 people show up.
Cool.
Was really cool. I mean, I reached out to some people that I knew and was like, hey, I'm doing this, you should come. And so they came to support me from Fort Collins, which is about 45 minutes away from Cheyenne, and where I live now. And so that was one of my first speaking engagements. And I remember I sweated like crazy. I mean, I was so nervous, but it went really well. And when I watched the video, because I had it recorded, when I watched the video, I mean, I sounded calm, confident, like I knew what I was doing. And
don't you feel like, I didn't mean to interject there, Monica, don't you feel like it's always, you always think it's never as bad as you think it is? It's never as bad. Like you're in your head thinking, oh my God, I'm shaking. Oh my God, I'm sweating. Oh my God, my lip is doing one of these, or nobody notices it. I mean, I teach communications at the university level. And I always tell my students, and I did an entire YouTube video about this, public speaking strategies or public speaking tips. The audience wants you to do well. The audience wants you, they want to feel comfortable, and nobody notices anything. Nobody does. They don't notice.
And if you mess up, they don't know.
Exactly. I love that. How many speeches have you done to date? Do you have a tally, or does that even matter to you? Or you have no idea? Hundreds?
No, I've been consistently speaking. I mean, and this is from like podcasts, speaking out, going out to places and speaking. What else? Virtual summits. Cool. Yeah, I've been doing all of that really heavily since probably okay, so it's 2017. So May of 2016.
Cool.
Really heavily. So I've been really proactive in trying to speak, a couple times a month, and getting on podcasts, doing virtual summits, of course, doing Facebook Lives. and whatever else I'm doing. Like I said, I talk a lot, so I like to talk. So
I think that, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's a good thing that I'm not a talker. I'm an introvert.
It is.
No, I'm kidding. But it's funny because like, I think that doing a live stream is like giving a public presentation. I mean, you have an audience. They may not be physically here, but they're there, they're watching, they're doing all the same nuances. They're checking you out. You have to deliver something with purpose and value, and you have to entice them, encapsulate their attention, all the same sort of nuances of a speech. I mean, a live stream is almost, I think that's why so many people are afraid to do it, afraid to, there's all sorts of people who've made a business around camera confidence. I mean, Molly Mahoney, I don't know if you know who Molly Mahoney is, but she was on my show. I think way back in the spring. She was on my show, and she's made an insane empire on just helping people go live and helping people with their camera confidence and just confidence in general for creating content, especially live streams. And it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why it's probably one of the most feared things. I mean, there's that old kind of joke that by Jerry Seinfeld, because death is supposed to be number 2 and fear of speaking is the number 1 fear. And Jerry Seinfeld said, I'd rather be in the coffin than giving the eulogy, so it's kind of a joke, sort of.
Yeah, I was speaking somewhere this recently, and I asked them, how many of you have done Facebook Live? And only 1 person out of 11 raised their hand. And I'm like, okay, all of you, I'm giving you the bold request to get on Facebook Live.
That's great. It's interesting. You being a content strategist, I'm curious. And Andreas, I want to get to your question. Andreas has a really good question. He wants to ask about blogging. Do you advise your clients, right? Because you're a content strategist. Do you advise them to go live? Do you advise all of them to incorporate live video in their content strategy?
Oh, yeah. Because we all taking content a different way. Some of us are video people. Some of us we like to read. I like reading blogs. I mean, that's how I like it. I'm not too big on video yet, like watching videos, unless it has a cat in it or.
Hey, there's a reason why those cat videos go viral immediately.
Yes. And so
I'm going to put a cat in every live stream. I'm going to put cat yoga. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put cat yoga in every live stream from now on.
So what you need to be doing is doing a stream while you're doing yoga with kittens all around you.
I just got the best content strategy ever. I'm going to start incorporating that tonight. I'm going to go to an animal shelter tonight and get some kittens.
Oh my gosh, I want kittens. I want a kitten so bad. But going on.
Okay, let me get to that's really cool. So that you do advise your clients to go live. That's great.
Yeah, because everyone takes in content a different way. We need to meet our audience on different platforms.
Is there any particular platform that you recommend, or is it Facebook primarily?
For me, it's different it depends on who your audience is. I mean, you have to find where your audience hangs out on. I find that coaches, speakers, and authors rely heavily on Facebook. So that's where I'm at.
It's turned into, I call it a marketing vomitorium. I think Facebook has turned into this. I mean, their entire revenue model, Facebook's entire revenue model is advertising. So that's how they make their money. So really cool. I think that's really cool that you advocate for live video. I'm a huge live video nut job. You can see with my show.
No, I didn't know that.
I know that comes as a huge shock. Andreas
it was a shock.
Exactly. Andreas has a really interesting question. Actually, my wife is trying to get her blog going too. So honey, if you're watching, I don't know if she's watching. She likes to lurk. She's probably not going to comment. But honey, if you're watching, check out, let's hear what Monica's answer is to this. Andreas says, what's the best way to start writing a blog post structure-wise? How do you structure it? What do you think?
All right. So this is how my brain works, and you can do whatever you want to do, with it. But this is how I work. I always have a introduction. So maybe my blog will start with a question, or it may start with a scenario. Like, hey, your heart is beating, you are sweating because you're about to press that Facebook
a story, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and there's no right or wrong way to do this. So I start with an introduction, and then I'll go into what is the body of the blog. And that could be, you know, your tips, maybe your tips for how to do something, or steps. All right, this is step 1, step 2, step 3, or just your main ideas. Most of my blog posts contain main ideas. Up, you know, so you can have anywhere between 2 to 5 main ideas, and then you want to wrap it up with a conclusion and a call to action to your audience. And the call to action can be anything from, hey, leave me a message, or share, or download my free guide to knowing how to be awesome on Facebook Live.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, you know, great answer, Monica. I think it's really important to think about audience retention and grabbing the audience's attention. If you start off with, hi, my name is Andreas and I'm going to write about, they're gone. They're finished.
Yeah.
I think you have to come up with something dramatic, something attractive, something enticing. It starts with your title too. And, you know, lists are really good in blogs. I've noticed most successful, quote unquote, viral blogs or what have you, listing, it has to be scannable. People just don't have the attention span anymore. So
remember, our attention span is worse than a goldfish.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. I actually wrote a LinkedIn article about that. So very good, Monica. Monica, we're like right here. I'm loving it. We're like right here. I can't wait to have your kid, when your kid gets older, they're going to come play with my kids. It's going to be fantastic.
Yes.
We're going to visit you. Where are you right now? You're not in Germany now, are you?
I'm in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
That's right. Cheyenne, Wyoming. Okay. We talked about that. So Andreas, I would say that would be, I think, you know, listen to what Monica said. It's a beautiful way. Keep it concise, keep it short. Don't go on and on. I think adding pictures, adding video embeds is really huge. My Medium blog and my LinkedIn blog, I keep it, you know how Medium, if you're new to Medium, do you do anything on Medium, Monica?
I have not yet.
So Medium has this little indicator. It's almost like a timestamp at the end of the blog where it says, like, this is how long the read is. It'll say this will be a 3-minute read. It actually lets the audience know this will be a 5-minute read, or this will be a 12-minute read, like average how long it would take to read it. Probably 99% of my blogs on Medium are 3-minute reads. So keeping it short and concise, I would say, is the best advice I could give you. And Monica's tips are awesome too. Intro, body, and then a CTA or a call to action.
Yeah, and then I always, like, you know, a lot of people always ask me, well, what's a length? What should be a good length? And I always, for the blogger, before you to just step into blogging, I always recommend do not worry about word count. Just write, because that's your main focus right now, is writing.
Don't even worry about it.
Consistent. Yeah. And then you will find your perfect, you know, like word count number. I'm a prolific writer. I mean, writing a 1,500 word blog post is like nothing to me. I mean, I can do that in no time. But I know for others, writing a 300 word blog post is tougher. And that's okay. Do what you can and be authentic and be yourself, because people care about your, you know, seeing that, rather than you being all, you know, I'm going to write out this beautiful poem for you today.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's all about quality, not quantity, I would say.
That's right.
Especially if you're not taking a writing class from a professor. It's so funny because I don't even like to have page count. I don't believe in page count and word count. I know a lot of professors out there who are like, you know, very strict about 5 pages and 6. I don't want to read any BS. I always say the most important thing, have you achieved your purpose?
Yeah.
That's the most important thing in video, in writing, in life. It's not about quantity. It's about quality. Did you achieve your purpose? If that takes 500 pages, so be it. If it takes 1 page, bada boom, bada bing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, too much techno babble bores readers. Yeah, Andreas, I would say that's true. That's true. Yeah. I mean, depending on your audience, though, your audience is really important. I think Monica would agree with this. Some people love techno babble. I mean, some people love it more than anything, you know? So you gotta know who your audience is, but I think the first thing you should do is write your ass off. And then you can kind of get a feel for taste, how to cater that to your audience as your tribe starts to, your audience starts to build, you know?
Yeah,
I think you
exactly.
can't say tribe anymore. I could get sued if I said tribe. I don't know. I think that's you can't really say anything anymore in the United States. It's very hard to know what to do, you know, and what the right thing to say is. You're going to get sued. You ever find that, Monica, that you have to hold your tongue, or you never say an uncommon or untoward thing ever, do you?
I mean, I probably do, but if I do, it's probably between me and my husband.
Exactly.
He's not gonna sue me.
Yeah, exactly. When it's between the hubby and the wife, yeah, anything goes.
Yeah, I know, right? So, but I use a lot of, like, for me, my language is pretty basic, and I've worked with a couple of people who have said, I really like you because you're like to the point. Sometimes I don't feel that way, but they like it because I'm to the point, and I don't really have any fluffy big words, because just for me, if I don't understand it, then my audience probably don't either. But like, you know, Professor Nez was saying, you just need to focus on your audience. If they love technical babble, then do it. If they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, bottom line, don't. I mean,
Don't.
I called my dad yesterday, and I was talking to him, and I was naming all things like, oh, call to action, landing page, content strategy. And he was like, you lost me. So
Exactly.
he's obviously not my ideal
what's
audience.
What's your CPC? Hey, Dad, what's your CPC?
I know. Poor thing.
I think that you are just absolutely wonderful. I've had such an amazing time with you on the show. I know I don't want to keep you too long because I know you're about to, go into labor any second now.
No, I'm not.
I'm kidding.
I'm only 25 weeks.
Oh, I made this mistake. I made this mistake yesterday. It's 40 weeks, not 30 weeks.
No, yeah,
right.
no. This baby needs to grow. He's only like 2 pounds.
It needs to cook. It needs to be in the oven a little bit longer. But I know it's uncomfortable. Yeah.
And I need to go home to Georgia so I can have my big baby shower.
Yeah. Gifts. Free gifts, baby. The baby shower is really the best part of going into labor. That's the best part of it. It's so funny because I remember vividly, and your husband needs to be aware of this, when my wife was getting closer, like 35, 36 weeks, I think she had Sammy at 37 or 36 weeks, which is normal. Those last couple of weeks, trying to sleep and trying to find the right position. I'm not trying to scare you. It's fine. Yeah. You'll figure it out. You just need a bunch of pillows and stuff, but tell your husband to be supportive because it's not easy when you get heavier, but you're going to be fine. I just want to say, hold on a second. Andrea says, now when you talk, you need to do it with a dictionary on hand so you don't hurt anyone. Yeah, it's kind of the state of things, isn't it? I don't know. Hopefully that'll change.
I hope so.
I think people just take themselves way too seriously. I think if people loosened up and learned to laugh at themselves, I think that's the ultimate remedy. I really, truly feel that way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I laugh at myself in my speeches. Like, now that I'm pregnant, oh my gosh, I'm like pregnancy brain. Yeah.
I wish I could. I could probably use pregnancy brain. If I said pregnancy brain in a speech, people would probably believe me. They'd be like, "Yeah, look at him. He's huge."
You could just say, I have 2 kids, 6 and 4, and they'll probably be like, "Yes, I understand."
Yeah, exactly. Tim says each profession has its lingo. It's okay to use words your target audience will understand. At the same time, don't try to sound intelligent. Huge. Tim is absolutely right. I have students that try to just inject these $6 trillion words just to sound smart and intelligent. Nothing smells of fraud more pungently than trying to sound smart. The best word is the simplest words. Always use the simplest language to get your point across. And actually, simplicity is an art. Simplicity is an art. It's not easy.
No.
Don't let the connotation fool you. Being simple can actually be quite complex. I sounded really smart there, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
I wanted to, I think this is just fantastic. And I wanted to ask you, I had something in mind. Oh, what the hell was I going to ask you? I was going to ask you something. I lost my train of thought. Dean said, half my job is sounding like I know what I'm talking about. Hey, I'm a writing professor. Are you kidding me? That's all I ever do is try to sound like I know what I'm talking about. I mean, writing is the most subjective thing out there. How do you sound like you know what you're talking about when you're, I mean, it's not 1 + 1 = 2.
No.
If I was a math professor, it'd be easy, right? But a writing professor, you have to talk about meaning. You have to talk about purpose, audience, intention, you know, language that creates a compelling, you know, driving whatever, what have you. So, Monica, I am just so happy. And so it's been such a pleasure talking to you. And I
Yeah, it
really
has
am
gone by
glad.
really fast.
It did. I mean, it's already been an hour. I mean, I can't, it's well over. It's well over. It's 55 minutes. It's well over the 45. I mean, it's unbelievable. It feels like it's been 5 minutes.
I know, right?
Give us, before we get out of here. And by the way, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Before we get out of here, why don't you tell the Nez Nation audience where they can find you? And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have, I know that Monica will be open to doing this. I'm going to have Monica leave in the comments, and you have carte blanche, Monica. You can leave as many links as you want in the comments. After the stream is finished going live, it'll post and publish. It takes a while to post and publish.
Yeah.
But Monica is going to go in there and post all her links so you can find her. But tell our Nez Nation audience really quickly where they can go to get more info on you.
Oh, right. So you can check out my website at monicawrites.com as if you're writing a book. So monicawrites.com. And like me on Facebook. That's where my main platform is, and that's where I engage more. It's just Monica Writes. And also I want to extend, if any of you have been thinking about content strategy, what's that, blogging, what? Like, how do you repurpose content? Then I want to offer a free 45-minute complimentary session where we can either meet on Zoom like this or over the phone if you're in the United States, and we will talk about where you're at and where you want to be at in your content and how I can best support you in that journey. And I'll put that link in the comments below, but it's just bit.ly/Monica Writes, and that goes straight to my calendar where you can schedule your free 45-minute complimentary session.
Oh, that's awesome. That is fantastic. Well, Nez Nation, on behalf of our guest, Monica Miller, and I want to thank you again for being on here. It's been a lot of fun and a very great learning experience. Nez Nation, I just want to say, don't forget, every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, Nez Nation Live, we're bringing dynamic guests, just like Monica, who is just crushing it, and who is just teaching us, inspiring us to go strive further in what we do. So make sure you like the page. Make sure you turn on the notifications. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you click that subscribe button, and you'll always be notified when we publish new videos and new live streams. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. This is Professor Nez. We'll see you guys next time. Nez Nation Live, we are out. See you guys.